they've added a new wrinkle to the story. Last night, they burnt Bibles.
That's nuts.
So, for all of the Christians who are so heavenly minded that they're of no earthly good, who believe that, well, it's not going to affect us, so why should we get involved? Why should we get in the game? Battle's coming whether you want to accept it or not. I need you to understand this. Though you may want peace, others want war. And unless there are two sides that want peace, guess what? You don't have war.
There you go.
So either we adjust or we submit. I, for one, grew up in a communist country. I grew up in a communist country until the age of 9. It was the embodiment of the utopia that people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar imagined this country to be one day. It was so beautiful and it was so splendid that people would risk swimming the Danube River while gunboats patrolled just to get across to the other side. And it wasn't to get to America, it was just Hungary. But at least Hungary wasn't a communist country.
Yeah.
Now those who didn't know how to swim, and there were some of them, would have to sort of wedge themselves underneath train cars. The problem with that was, it was about an 18-hour journey to get all the way across the border and make it out of utopia. Out of the utopia that gender studies majors with septum piercing and shaved heads really want for your country. 18 hours they had to hang on and not fall asleep. Because hey, if, you know, their palms got sweaty and they lost their grip or they fell asleep, well, they'd just be minced meat on a train track. See, we hear a lot of talk nowadays about how everyone else couldn't get it right, but they can. If you don't know whether you're a boy or a girl by looking in your pants, and you expect me to believe that you can make socialism or Marxism or communism work when others who were bona fide geniuses couldn't, allow me my skepticism. See, we are living a very pinnacle time in this country. And the reason that I keep agreeing to do these things for Gino is because I have kids. And I don't want my kids to stand in bread lines the way I used to when I was young. I don't want my kids to be in school and for them to get pulled out of class because their parents weren't thinking right. And they were going to educate me why my parents were wrong. I know Al Gore tried. Remember that old thing? Oh, your parents are stupid. You're the smart ones, kids. Eat that booger on your finger and listen to me, global warming. It's not as though they haven't tried. But there's always been a pushback of reason and logic. There have always been brave souls that stood and said, this is insanity. And I'm not seeing that this time. Look, I understand that a lot of you are still in that mindset of, that could never happen here. Good morning, it's happening here. So, if you're still singing that song, understand that it's expired. It's happening here. They are pushing for socialism in this country. This is bigger than Trump and Biden. I'm sad for Joe. One day I may grow old if my heart doesn't explode because I'm too fat. And I too may have dementia. So I would hope that someone have pity on me as well. So understand that I empathize. But this is bigger than Donald Trump and Joe Biden or the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. This is about anarchy, just this anarchy and tyranny or the liberty that you've taken for granted for so long. Understand that when people have always had something, they oftentimes don't value that which they had. You get up every morning, you walk to the bathroom, you brush your teeth. You take the fact that you can wipe for granted every single morning. Until you're walking down the street and you see somebody in a wheelchair. And there's that passing thought that goes through your mind, oh, thank God I can walk. You've always had freedom in this country. And you don't know what it is to live without freedom. You got a taste of it in recent months. Where law-abiding citizens are told what they can do, when they can do it, how they can do it, with whom they can do it. Highlighted them apples. Because if the other side does get power, what you've seen so far, baby steps compared to what's coming.
Amen.
They are this brazen when they are in the minority. They are this brazen when they have no power. Imagine what they will do if they get power. Look, who was it? I know I have it written down some here. Patrick Henry. Remember him?
Yes, sir.
Give me liberty! Or give me useless mandates to put muzzles on myself and have a false sense of security. That's what he said. No, he said, give me liberty or give me death. We need to understand that we are living in binary times. There's no third option. Because I hear this from a lot of believers as well. Well, what about a good Christian man that runs for office? Great! He's going to get as many votes as Ross Perot did. Remember Ross Perot? Remember who became president because Ross Perot decided not to opt out of the, race? It's a binary race, kids. Imperfect, as Donald Trump may be, still the best shot at retaining liberty in this country.
Right.
Yes. Amen.
I can say I'm a conscientious observer, but I'm not. I've got skin in the game. I got kids. And so I will try to convince as many people as humanly possible that there is no alternative, there's but one choice. Unless you want to know what communism really is. Because oddly enough, you could stand on the shores of Florida for years and years, and all the rafts and the inner tubes only go one way, don't they? You don't see a lot of people launching off to get to Cuba, to enjoy communism and whatnot. A lot of inner tubes coming over from there. There are people risking their lives to come to this country. And people that were born in this country, people that have lived lives of ease and comfort in this country, actually believe that this is the worst place in the world to be. And this tells me two things. They are ignorant beyond repair, and they haven't been anywhere else in the world. Because if you leave this country and go to other places and see what communism has wrought, you'll come back and kiss the ground and go, hey, we got it pretty good. Amen. Imperfect as we might be, guess what? Only God is perfect.
That's right.
I'm not going to keep you long. I don't like fluff. And I know that's ironic because I'm a fat guy, but still. I don't like packing a talk with things that are irrelevant, but I did have a couple of ideas that I wrote down and I felt I needed to share with you tonight. There are many in this country today that believe freedom perpetuates through inertia. It doesn't. Liberty must be guarded, liberty must be protected, and liberty must be defended. And it's not up to politicians to do it. By God, it's not. Because they make prostitute blush. They have. There's nobody they wouldn't take money from. And the person that gives them the most money is the bell that they're going to ring. Who was it? Dianne Feinstein the other day. The Chinese are amazing. They're doing such great work. We are ruthless human beings compared to the Chinese. Have you seen What they do to Muslims in their country? They put them in train cars and take them to camps. And then they die very painfully and very quietly. But yes, a sitting senator said, Chinese are A-okay, but our system has to change. It's, what was it that Ilhan Omar said? It is a diseased system and it must be pulled from the root. Says a woman who married her brother to come to the U.S. I don't know. Kind of, you know. Look, I understand that some of you are getting disheartened hearing what you're hearing. Every time you turn on the TV, it's over! Might as well pack it in. Get a hammer and sickle tattooed on your forehead so that they know you're friendly. Light your own business on fire so they don't have to go through the trouble. But, ask yourself this. If the battle were already lost, if they were so certain of their victory, why are they still trying so hard? It's an illusion. Because they know that there are good and decent people in this country. They know that vast majority of people like the idea of law enforcement and respect law enforcement, even when they get pulled over for doing a little bit over the speed limit, even though they had a really good reason for speeding. Because we respect people who would put their own lives on the line to protect the citizen. Even if you give me a speeding ticket, I'll still say thank you, sir. My bad. Because I know I couldn't do that job. But see, that sort of rationale doesn't enter into the minds of those that want to burn it all down and start all over. You're not competent enough to have moved out of your mom's basement at 37. I'm not going to trust you with the future of the country.
That's right.
This is the reality that we're living. And we failed at guarding liberty.
That's right.
We did.
That's right.
Call it.
That's right. Yeah.
We failed at protecting liberty. When you protect something, it's from afar off. You see the enemy coming, finger at God, right to the cranium. Good night, Sally. We didn't do that either. But now we have to defend it. Because freedom, liberty, the way of life that you know and love is under attack in this country.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe it, just turn on the evening news. I understand everything's preceded by mostly peaceful protests.
Terrorism.
I don't know, spontaneous combustion, sure, one time. There's a lot of fires going on in places like LA and Georgia and Portland and Seattle. Could it have all been lightning storms? Perhaps. But God didn't come down and graffiti those cop cars. Somebody else did. So, don't believe what you hear. Believe what your eyes are telling you. There is a push in this country, not for justice, racial or otherwise. There is a push to undo the current system and replace it with communism. I'm not going to call it democratic socialism. I'm not going to call it Marxism. It's communism. That's what it ends up being every single time.
Yes.
Amen.
Not in the scope.
And if you have a problem with calling yourself comrade, then as the sheriff said, do something. You can't. There is no such thing as liberty inertia. It has enemies. Your liberty has enemies. Will you defend it? Is it worth fighting for?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
If not for you, because you're old and you think you're going to die from COVID, then maybe for your kids or grandkids.
Amen.
Is it a gift worth giving to the next generation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or are we all going to bow the knee and scrape and say, oh yes, look, the genius that is Joe Biden?
Not a chance.
It's because you're not a Rhodes Scholar that you don't understand what a dog-faced pony soldier is. I just call it as I see it. And if I'm the last man standing on the parapet, guess what? I'm going to be there. Because I got kids.
Yes.
Every time I do one of these for Gino, this is the motivator. I keep telling everyone, I've got kids! And unlike you, I didn't grow up in freedom. Unlike you, I didn't grow up in liberty. I grew up in the desperation that they want to bring to this country. And you have not seen a man's wrath the way you will see mine if you attempt to make my kids live under that same nonsense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do something.
Yes.
Whatever that something is, because it's coming. And the longer you are silent, the more root they take, and the longer it will be for you to rip it from the root. As Ilhan Omar said. But, by the way, she's no longer married to her brother. Now she's, stifling money, taking money from her constituents and giving it to her new husband. You gotta love America, huh?
God help us.
If semi-illiterates like Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi can become multimillionaires, can't all be bad, can it? But this is why they tell you, it's bad, you're bad. And we need to change. But it's not.